Alright folks, it's me, Screen Recorder Man, live from Halloween Man's basement once again, and for the next indeterminate amount of minutes I've decided to speak about the Lowe's 2025 Halloween lineup, which we've recently had photographic access to. Suppose I'm fairly late to the party on this one, considering it's currently February 9th, and the manager meeting was on the 5th and 6th, but the way I figure is better to talk about it late than not at all. So I'll just be briefly sharing my thoughts on the new props and such on account of it's Sunday and I'm bored and haven't really got much else to do at the moment, and I don't really give a rat's ass about the Super Bowl. So the first one I'm going to talk about appears to be a fan favorite, and for good reason. I will say I did not have high hopes for Balloon Dog Clown. I will preface this by saying I am not a fan of clown props overall. I think, obviously one or two a year is fine. That's cool, whatever. If you like clowns, I mean, by all means, more power to you. But me personally, ever since 2017 and 2018, Clownomania has just been running wild on the Halloween industry. And that doesn't quite work for me, brother. But this one is one that actually pleasantly surprised me. I'm gonna say I don't like the puppet movement on the jaw there. It has the puppet mouth movement like the Pan Asian Creations life sizes and shit like. Well, not quite like them. It's actually I probably Techie Design makes this because they made something very similar, which was that jump scare clown the Party City had, which I'm forgetting the name of, but it's what I'm talking about. It's that one. So the jaw movement is, whatever. It is what it is. I was not expecting the animation for this thing to have. Looking at the dog, now I thought that the dog was going to be a plush because to me, it looked like that sort of, I don't even know what they call it, but it's like this rubbery fucking material that they use for plushies sometimes, and it's like metallic and shit. I saw it a lot at Walmart over Christmas time because they had like balloon animal themed plush toys and shit. That's what I'm talking about. I thought that's what that was because it just looks like it's supposed to be that. Come to find out, because this one actually does have a video, I will play the video. This one, the fucking mouth on the balloon dog actually opens up and has all the sharp teeth and shit inside. I was so shocked at that. That one actually took me back because you can see where the mouth opens and it's very obvious, but it looked like just a seam. Before we had the video, before there was any pictures, it looked like just a fucking seam on the on the material. So I didn't think that it was going to have a movement like that. And then there's also a lunging animation which is very, very interesting. I didn't see that one coming at all. Like it's, Hugs the Clown style lunging animation. I'm going to play the video now.
When I'm not performing, it's just distraction, closing, and other nothing. Now it's the blue. Next thing you know, it's you!
The audio, I will say, it could very well just be the camera quality, and it probably is, but the audio is fucking horrible. I can't understand what it's saying. It's like it's not even speaking English. It's speaking some sort of bastardization of the English language. So yeah, aside from the fact that I have absolutely no idea what this fucker is trying to say to me, this is a pretty cool prop. It has the lunging animation, which it's like two jump scares in one, because again, you don't expect the mouth to open up on the balloon dog. You don't expect it to lunge forward. That's really fucking cool. And I think those two things sort of take away from the shitty puppet mouth movement. So yeah, Balloon Dog Clown, very, very pleasant surprise. Very pleasant surprise on the Balloon Dog Clown. It's not one I'm going to be getting because I really don't have any usage for clown in my display, especially the one that I'm going to be doing this year. But it's still, I got to give credit where it's due. That's a pretty cool clown prop. This here is one that I do not see being spoken of a lot, and I guess for good reason. It's just basically just a filler prop. I don't really see this going anywhere. But I'm going to assume a jump scare witch, because in this picture, the head is down, but then there's another picture where the head is like up and the eyes light up and shit. So it's like something in the vein of Sitting Scarecrow, Scare Clown, the witch, and everything. It's very similar to that. Also, you can notice that they're very obviously trying to hide the face because the fucking brim of the hat is comically large, and the hat itself is just absolutely massive. Uh, so yeah, this is a pretty interesting idea. Well, not really, because it's been done before, but it's just, I guess, a pretty good filler prop. I guess if you have a witch themed display and you need a witch filler prop, I guess that's pretty cool. I do not believe there is a video of it in action, so that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. Again, not something I'm interested in whatsoever. But if that's the kind of filler prop that you need, then go for it. It's like the pop-up Ghost Girl that was at Lowe's for a few years in a row. It's like, just a cheap filler prop and a quick jump scare, I guess. So pretty cool for what it is. Pretty cool. And now we have quite an assortment here. We have the Gravedigger, we have the Werewolf. There's a ghost in the background, but there's a better picture of the ghost elsewhere, which I will use to discuss the ghost then. Then there's also the 10-foot tall Scarecrow. I will start off with the Werewolf, because the Werewolf I think is the coolest out of the bunch. People don't really seem to be a fan of the Werewolf. Pretty shitty blurry picture, by the way. But people don't really seem to be a fan of the Werewolf, and I think that's unfortunate. Now there is a video of this one as well. There's a video of this one and the ghost and the oh fuck, what's it called? Gravedigger. There's a Gravedigger as well going off in that video. But I mean, the werewolf's animation is pretty slow. It sort of leans back and the arms open up and the mouth moves. So I've seen people calling it a full moon werewolf. I honestly don't know if that's the actual official title, but that would be a pretty badass name if it was. I like the choice of aesthetics that it's going for. Like, it's got that sort of, 18th, 19th century fucking like lace up shirt going on. It's got gray shit all over it. The pants sort of don't make any sense, but I guess they don't have to. I mean, and it's another gray werewolf, which is, I guess, neat. I don't know. It's pretty generic as werewolves go, admittedly speaking. Again, not one I'm going to be getting. Most of this shit I'm not going to be getting. But it's pretty cool for what it is. And then, of course, we have the Gravedigger here, who... initially, I was excited for the Gravedigger, but then I saw the video. And the video, I really hope it's just the angle they shot it at, because the Gravedigger has next to no fucking movement at all, and it's so lame. The mouth moves and the eyes light up, obviously, but it's so fucking lame. I was expecting, and I sure hope that just off camera it does have more movement, but it doesn't look to have any. I was expecting there was going to be like he waves the lantern or something, or maybe like it tilts the shovel or something like that. There's just nothing of the kind, and it's very disappointing. But then I came to realize it's not really that disappointing, because again, the market is fucking saturated with gravediggers recently, or I guess in recent times. So, I mean, you had the Home Depot Gravediggers, you have the fucking Haunted Mansion Gravedigger that Lowe's came out with, you have the Techie Gravedigger, you have that, little piece of shit crouching Gravedigger that they had in 2022 at Lowe's. Pretty sure it was 2022. If it's not, apologies. But yeah, we just have a lot of Gravediggers now, so it really isn't that much of a disappointment that it's a piece of shit. But it's, yeah, just a shame that it was even made. But again, all this is all this is subject to change once I see them in person, but just preliminary indications are that this gravedigger is a piece of shit. Here is a better picture of the ghost. He's got like bells in his hands for some reason, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty interesting design. It reminds me of like the I don't know if what year it came out, but it reminds me of the Rising Ghost that Seasonal Visions did. It's probably a Seasonal Visions prop. I mean, the skull looks very similar. But yeah, Ghost is pretty cool. Ghost is actually a potential buy if maybe if there's one left on clearance or something. Ghost is pretty fucking cool. Gravedigger, again, is a total disappointment. It looks to only have mouth movement. If so, that, appearance-wise, it's on point. It's very nice. But animation-wise, that puts it on par with, like, one of the worst Gravediggers we've ever gotten. Very, very unfortunate. The werewolf is alright. It's a pretty generic werewolf. But I will say I do understand where people say it's mid. And then there's the 10-foot scarecrow, which tilts side to side. And I mean, okay, cool. I'm really not a fan anymore of the. If I ever was a fan, I certainly am not a fan anymore of these sort of I was gonna say overpriced, but yeah, overpriced as well, but oversized, gigantic props, like 10-foot, 12-foot scarecrow and skeletons and shit like that. It was cool 5 years ago. It's overdone now. It's overdone. It's oversaturated. It's campy. It's niche. It's not niche, but it's just it's certainly stayed past its welcome, and I'm just not a fan of that anymore. So Scarecrow does not impress me at all. As a matter of fact, I don't even like the Scarecrow's design, so I'm willing to say the Scarecrow is mid, below mid even. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. Next, we have this Cauldron Witch. I do not believe there's a video of it, but there really doesn't have to be. I mean, we all know what the Cauldron Witch does. It's a pretty cool looking piece. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the face is like reminding me a little bit of the Cauldroness. The infamous green pizza slice. But I'm not really impressed overall. Like it's okay. It's another Cauldron Witch. We get Cauldron Witches often, especially those ones with like 2 and 3 witches sitting around the cauldron. Which again, it's overdone, and we've got enough of them, and it's time to put the idea to rest, I think. But if you're a fan of Cauldron Witches, why not? One thing I will say is that why the fuck did they have to put blow molded plastic fire details into the cauldron? I like the cauldron. The cauldron is pretty cool. Normally they have like those collapsible fabric cauldrons or some shit. This is pretty cool because it's actually blow molded. But the fire design being molded into the cauldron just fucking ruins it for me. It looks stupid. It looks actually stupid. And I can't stand it when they do that, because it's happened before with some cauldron props made by companies. Yeah, definitely not liking that. It makes it look like it's a fucking child's like trick or treat pail. So maybe that's just me being overcritical, but definitely not feeling that one. So Cauldron Witch, not going to be a pickup for me. As a matter of fact, I can't see it being popular among pretty much anyone, because even among Cauldron Witches, they're far, far better Cauldron Witches. So yeah, and especially with the price they're probably going to charge for this shit, definitely not high on the priority list. And now we have quite the collection here to look at, not the least of which being this, like, fucking pilgrim dude in the middle. I really don't know what this is trying to be. It's a zombie with a top hat, wearing, Victorian clothes and theater glasses with a stopwatch that lights up in his hand. And he has a Mr. Dark style mechanism or Forest Demon style mechanism where he jumps up and grows to half his size, and then that's it. I really don't know what demographic that's appealing to. I don't like it. I'm just gonna say that. I don't like it. Um, yeah, that's about all I have to say for that one. This did not impress me when I saw the initial like leaked stock photo. Did not impress me when I saw this picture that we're looking at now. Did not impress me when I saw the video. Maybe when I see it in person, unless they're gonna pull a fast one and make it online only. Unless I see it in person and my opinion changes, definitely don't like this one. Then we have the unexpected Peekaboo Penny Clown remake, which people seem to like this one too. This is another fan favorite, and again, I can see what they're going for with the sort of dunce cap clown design, with the pointy hat and shit. But again, I don't like clowns. It's pretty well done. The face is spooky looking and everything, and it has like strobing eyes. All of these have a video in which they're collectively going off. So you'll see that in a moment. But the strobing eyes, I don't quite see how that's appealing. But okay, not my cup of tea. But it's not a terrible prop. It's a good jump scare. If you got a clown theme, it's pretty solid, I guess, for that. Because I think by looking at it, you can tell that something's gonna happen, but maybe you're not expecting its neck to full on fucking separate and blast into the air. So I guess it's a pretty effective jump scare. Then there's the, I regret to say, female plague doctor. And I want to reiterate, I regret to say that. Who the fuck asked for a female plague doctor? And even better yet, it's I'm pretty sure it's fucking static, because in the video there's like no movement. It just lights up and I guess has phrases, but they're all going off simultaneously, so you can't hear the phrases. You can't really hear the phrases on any of these characters. But why? Why would you make a female plague doctor? Because it's wearing a dress and shit. The staff looks like a Dollar Tree prop. Definitely don't like the female plague doctor at all. This is not something that I don't think anybody asked for. I don't think anybody else likes it either. And it's also like, less than 5 feet tall, maybe. So, not impressed. And then there's like these assorted like little girl props, which these ones are like staring longingly at each other for some fucking reason. Not even gonna really talk about them because I don't care in the slightest. They're just more doll or creepy girl props. Shout out, of course, to these two ladies who are like totally ignoring all the animatronic monsters in front of them in favor of staring at this fucking dog on a plate for some reason, which maybe might potentially be pancake art. I don't know. And also shout out to this dude in the corner who's clearly enjoying it. Then there's all these ones, which are mostly licensed, that I'll talk about real quick. You'll notice primarily on the right hand we have more Corpse Bride animatronics, which I don't understand why Lowe's would pull this unless they already had it planned last year, because Spirit Halloween came out with their versions, which are pretty much, you can't really top those. So I don't know why they would even go ahead with that to start with. But then on top of that, they just look like shit. And this is coming from someone who is not really fond of the Corpse Bride film, but even I can say these look like garbage, and they're not not a very good representation of the characters in that film. So yeah, I don't know why they would have done that. Of course, we do have a surprise guest appearance by none other than Frankenweenie down here. I think this is our first ever Frankenweenie prop for retail. That's pretty interesting. I don't think he does anything. I think it's just like a plastic or maybe vinyl, maybe even latex piece. Um, that's probably just static, but cool nonetheless that we have a Frankenweenie there to look at. Um, then we have Mickey Mouse dressed as a mummy, who is very clearly trying to replicate the success that Home Depot has seen with their Christmas Mickey Mouse shit. I mean, it looks all right. I'm not I'm not gonna lie. It looks pretty nice. It's pretty true to the character. I don't think there's any videos of it, but I have seen alternative images where the arms have moved and the head has also moved. So it's a dancing Mickey Mouse. At least it's gonna have head and arm movement. Maybe torso. I don't know, but it's not really anything. I will say I do like it, and if it was cheap enough, I would get it. But I don't really have any use for a Mickey Mouse animatronic at this point. So it would be a hard pass, but I'm not gonna say it's not cool. It does look all right. And then down here, there's actually two of these little dancing characters. There's a skeleton which you can see, and then there's a ghost to its right, and the ghost just looks like a fucking dancing blow mold. Don't like these. It's very similar to the stupid ass Rapping Reaper they did last year. This is very clearly their like child friendly section over here. They're demonstrating their family friendly props, which is all right. It's like something Target would pull. They're very family friendly, family child oriented section. So I can't shit on it. It's clearly not intended for an audience like me or anything like that. Although I will say, Blow Mold Casper on the left here, that's pretty fucking cool. I might get Blow Mold Casper. Blow Mold Casper slaps. We then have another one, which is just something I'll briefly skim over. Most of these are bringbacks in the Haunted Mansion selection, most notably the Caretaker and the Haunted Knight, or I mean Headless Knight, which I think the Headless Knight might have actually seen better days. But regardless, it's pretty cool stuff. I think the portrait in the back, which it's one of those ones where it changes picture depending on where you're standing. That's pretty neat if you're doing a Haunted Mansion theme. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room, or I might say the mouse in the room, which is the hitchhiking ghosts. Now, when the prototype picture of this dropped on Halloween Forum, it looked like shit then. I'm glad they fixed the head sculpts on some of them. It still looks like shit, but I'm glad they made it look a little less like shit. But I said then, I posted on Halloween Forum, that these look to me like off-brand porch greeters. They look like they're going to be 3 feet tall. And I was swiftly corrected and told that, well, it's just a prototype. So it's not actually what they're going to look like. And I thought, okay, fine. Well, unfortunately, I was right. They're fucking 3 feet tall. Maybe not even. This is a massive disappointment, like an actual tremendous disappointment. And I guess they're trying to save costs by making them 3 feet instead of full size. But why would you fucking do that? You made the other two characters from the Haunted Mansion full size. You've gotten everybody excited that they're going to be able to add another life-size, Haunted Mansion figures into their display, and then you drop this. And I just want to point out, they did change the head sculpts from, well, this is what they look like. So, I mean, at least there was a mild improvement from that, but it's still, they just look like such shit compared to the real thing. It's so fucking horrible. And I was considering getting them too. Before I saw the picture, I heard that Lowe's was going to be coming out with hitchhiking ghosts. I was like, you know what? because I like the Hitchhiking Ghost, even though I'm not the biggest fan of like Haunted Mansion stuff in general. I like the Hitchhiking Ghosts as characters, so I was thinking, I might have to get that. Um, Needless to say, plans have changed. Plans have changed. I'd say very drastically, and that only naturally brings us to none other than 12-Foot Vampire. Another one who has no video, so I don't know exactly what it does. If it does anything, it might just be a static. I don't know. This, it you know, it's a 12-foot vampire. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? I don't like 12-foot props, so I don't have a horse in this race either way. I will say, and this might be a hot take, I think it's better than Bone Collector, 12-foot Bone Collector. Uh, Not by much, but I think it's better. I mean, it just looks better, and it makes more sense. It's obviously a vampire. Um, it's just, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people just shitting on it now, which I think it's going to be another one of those 12-foot Bone Collector situations where, if anybody remembers, when Bone Collector came out last year, everybody was taking a hot, steamy fucking diarrhea bath all over the top of it and saying how it was the worst 12-footer that they ever came out with. It was fucking horrible. It was bad. And then those same people, I think, several months later, were tripping over their own shoelaces trying to get one. So I think that the vampire is going to be another one of those situations because I can see both sides of the coin. I can see where people think it's shit and it's horrible, but I can also see where people think it's really cool. Although I think there's more the crowd of the former is more than that of the latter at this point in time. But it's just, like I said, I'm a fence sitter. I'm not really interested either way. It's neat for what it is, I guess. If you really like 12-foot stuff, I don't. Uh, this looks like shit though. How it's got this giant hole where fucking water is gonna collect and shit like that, and where it looks like this lantern or whatever he's holding is being held onto his hand by an actual genuine paper clip. That's pretty shitty. Especially considering you wouldn't notice it if you were looking at it at eye level, but the fucking thing is 12 foot tall. Who's going to be looking at it at eye level? The ghost of Andre the Giant? No, I don't think so. So, yeah, that's a bit of an eyesore. Hopefully they fix that in the produced models. And then it's got this like white part on the lantern, which I'm thinking could either be like a fire effect, or maybe it'll be a projection, like in the style of Untimely Death on the urn. I don't know. Either way, not a fan of 12-foot vampire. Not going to get them. Probably going to be overpriced anyway. So, moving onward. The Reaper Band is back, although the guitarist and the drummer, which were the original two that came out in, I want to say 2023, I think, they are not back. But we see the keyboardist, which was an online only last year, and the frontman, the singer, is also back, which he was in stores. But we also now see the DJ player with the turntable, which is pretty cool. It's more funny than it is cool, I guess, to me. It doesn't really look like it mixes well with the other players at all because they're all dressed in like black and shit, and then he's over here in a purple hoodie. So it's interesting, to say the least. It has all these neon lights and shit on the turntable, which it again looks to me like something Target would have cooked up in their, meth-induced pipe dreams. But it's what it is. I guess if you want to complete your Reaper band, that would be why you'd get it. But I honestly don't see many people just buying this just to buy it. But I could be wrong. That's just my own bias speaking, I guess. But you'll notice behind him, that green thing is something I really want to focus on. Because overall, ultimately, I'm not impressed. I'm just going to come out and say I'm not impressed by most of Lowe's lineup this year. I think it is admittedly mid, and that's coming from someone who has a huge fucking Lowe's bias overall, because my collection, for all intents and purposes, started at Lowe's, and I think that they generally have cool stuff every year. But even I gotta say, this year was pretty weak by comparison to last year. But that green thing behind the Reaper, I really want to talk about, because if you don't know what that might be, when we go to this shot here, first and foremost, you can see the handstand clown, which is returning from last year, which is all right. It was a pretty cool clown prop, admittedly. You can also see a giant groundbreaker skeleton thing, which is just another oversized skeleton prop for the yard. So hard pass for me. But if you look off to the left and you squint your eyes and you tilt your head at just a slight angle, then you can see they are, in fact, which is a fucking tremendous relief for me, they are, in fact, bringing back the deep sea diver from last year, which is absolutely, like I said, just an absolute fucking relief. Huge sigh of relief for me, because the deep sea diver is one I missed out on last year, and it's one that I got the captain, and I got the seaweed witch, the gemmy sea witch, but I didn't get the diver, and I didn't get the servo witch. Now, nobody's really taken a straight picture of this, where the arrow is, this general portion of the display that Lowe's had at the manager meeting. So we don't know what all exactly is over there, but that is where they had the Haunted Harbor stuff. And we do know they are bringing back the captain, they're bringing back the diver, and they're bringing back the Kraken, at least. There's been no pictures at all that had the Sea Witch or the Fisherman in them. So unfortunately, they might not be bringing back the entire Haunted Harbor collection. But for me personally, this is just a massive fucking win in and of itself. Like, this is huge. Because when we refer back to this picture real quick, you can see the captain is very clearly right here. You can see his shoulder piece, his arm, and the spokes for the wheel. And you can also see the tentacle for the Kraken down here. So yeah, thankfully, they are bringing back the Haunted Harbor collection, which I was starting to run out of hope, and I was starting to run out of faith when the pictures first came out. But luckily, people were pointing out on Halloween Forum that they did bring them back. They were just trying to hide them, like the bastards that they are over there. But luckily, they are indeed bringing them back. So I don't know about the Sea Witch. I don't know about anything else. But they are bringing back the diver, and I am absolutely 100% gonna fucking get the diver by whatever means necessary. Even if they bring it back, even if they bring it back online only or something, I am gonna be getting that goddamn diver, however I have to. That's just a certainty. There's also a spider down here, which, okay, not impressed by the spider. Everyone on Halloween Forum was disappointed. They were expecting the spider to be like 10 foot tall or some shit. It's actually just a small thing, relatively speaking. So, very, very unfortunate for them, but yeah, just another plastic spider. I don't really give a shit. Now, there are other props, like this skeleton with Ozzy Osbourne glasses that has like a hole in his midsection for some reason. And, there's like inflatables and blow molds and shit that they're bringing back. But I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't really give a shit about much else other than what I spoke about. Yeah, with that being said, that's about all there is for my thoughts so far on Lowe's Halloween 2025. All of this is subject to change, because generally speaking, when you see something in the leaks versus when you see it in person, there's typically a pretty big disconnect, and opinions can change, especially on things like the Gravedigger or maybe even the Scarecrow or something like that. When I see them in person, it might be different. When I actually hear the phrases, when we actually see the animation in something other than a grainy fucking 360p video, there's always room for change. But as it stands right now, overall, even I, as a Lowe's guy, even I have to admit, this is overall pretty mid. And the things I'm most excited about are fucking bringbacks from last year. So, yeah, that's about all. that's about all there is to say about this. So enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl.